Introduction to Hadoop. In this chapter, we will be learning multiple different topics which will be coming in this order. First, introducing Hadoop. Why Hadoop? RDBMS versus Hadoop. Distributed computing challenges. History of Hadoop. And Hadoop overview. Let's see introducing Hadoop. Hadoop is an open source software framework used for distributed storage and processing of large datasets. Hadoop is based on the MapReduce programming model, which allows for parallel processing of large datasets across clusters of computers. This makes it ideal for handling big data, which is characterized by its volume, velocity, and variety. Under introducing Hadoop, let's see data, the treasure trove. Data is a lifeblood of any organization. It is generated in a vast quantities every day, from customer transaction to social media interaction. However, unlocking the value of this data is not easy. Traditional methods of data storage and analysis are no longer sufficient. This is where Hadoop comes in. With its ability to store and process massive amount of data, Hadoop has become the go-to solution for organizations looking to extract insight from their data. Nextly, why Hadoop? It is one of the primary reasons for using Hadoop is its ability to process large amount of data in its distributed environment. Traditional relational database management system, which is also known as RDBMS, are not designed to handle the volume, velocity, and variety of data. Another key advantage of Hadoop is that it is highly scalable. As your organization data grows, you can simply add more nodes to the cluster to handle the increased workload. This makes Hadoop an ideal solution for organizations that needs to process massive amount of data on a regular basis. Next comes RDBMS versus Hadoop. RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System, or widely used for storing and managing structured data. They are designed to handle transaction and provide asset properties known as atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. On the other hand, Hadoop is a distributed computing platform specifically designed for handling big data. It can store and process both structured and unstructured data at scale using a distributed file system called Hadoop Distributed File System, also known as HDFS, and a processing framework called MapReduce. Unlike RDBMS, Hadoop provides high scalability and fault tolerance by distributing data and computation across multiple nodes in a clusters. Next is distributing computing challenges. Distributed computing poses a number of challenges that must be overcome in order to successfully implement Hadoop. On such challenges, it is need for fault tolerance. Another challenge is ensuring that all nodes are working together effectively. They require careful coordination and communication between nodes as well as efficient use of available resources. Additionally, there may be issues with data consistency and synchronization across nodes, which must also be addressed. Under distributed computing challenges, let's see hardware failure. Hardware failure is an inevitable occurrence in any large-scale distributed computing system, including Hadoop. To mitigate the impact of hardware failure, Hadoop uses a technique called replication. This involves making multiple copies of each piece of data and storing them on different machines throughout the cluster. In the event of a hardware failure, the system can simply retrieve the data from one of the other copies, ensuring that no data is lost and minimizing downtime. Next, history of Hadoop. Hadoop was created by Dom Cutting and Mike Caffarella in 2005 as a way to process large amount of data. The idea was inspired by Google MapReduce paper, which described a method for processing large data set across distributed system. The name Hadoop actually comes from a toy elephant that belongs to Cutting's son. The project started as an open source implementation of Google's MapReduce and distributed file system, but has since evolved to include other projects like Hive, Pig, and HBAS. Next is Hadoop overview. Hadoop is an open source software framework used for distributed storage and processing of big data on clusters of commodity hardware. It is designed to scale up from a single server or to thousands of machines, each offering local computation and storage. Under Hadoop overview, let's see key aspects of Hadoop, Hadoop component, Hadoop conceptual layer, and a high-level architecture of Hadoop. Let's see key aspects of Hadoop. Yeah, Hadoop is a distributed computing system that allows for storage and processing of large data set across clusters of computers. One of the key aspects of Hadoop is its ability to handle unstructured data. Another important aspect of Hadoop is its fault tolerance. Hadoop is designed to handle hardware failure gracefully by replicating data across multiple nodes in a cluster. Next comes Hadoop component. Hadoop is composed of four main components known as HDFS, Yarn, MapReduce, and common utilities. HDFS is the storage layer of Hadoop that provides a distributed file system for storing large dataset. Yarn is nothing but yet another resource negotiator. It's a resource management layer that manages resource in a Hadoop cluster. Next is MapReduce. It's the processing layer that processes data stored in HDFS. Next come common utilities, provide support libraries and tools for Hadoop. Next is Hadoop conceptual layer. The Hadoop conceptual layer is a core Hadoop architecture. It consists of two main components, the HDFS and MapReduce. HDFS is designed to handle data in a distributed environment, which means it can store and manage data across multiple machines in a clusters. This allows for high availability and fault tolerance, as well as the ability to scale out as more data is added to the system. Whereas MapReduce is a programming model used to process large data sets in parallel. It breaks down the data into smaller chunks and processes them in parallel across multiple nodes in the cluster, which makes it faster and more efficient than traditional computing methods. At last, high-level architecture of Hadoop. The high-level architecture of Hadoop consists of two main components known as HDFS and MapReduce. HDFS is responsible for storing large data sets by breaking them into smaller blocks and replicating them across the clusters. MapReduce is responsible for processing these data sets in parallel across the clusters.